So, a massive European telecom company recently eliminated, I think it was 5,000 days of manual labor, and they saved over £2 million.
Yeah, which is just huge.
Right. And they didn't do it by, hiring some massive external engineering firm or doing a grueling multi-year digital transformation. They just used 33 automated workflows.
Exactly 33. And if you're an IT decision maker listening to this, you know the current automation landscape feels a bit like, well, standing in a hurricane.
Oh, absolutely. It's completely overwhelming.
It really is. You've got development teams pulling you in one direction, insisting that AI coding agents are the only future, and then operations teams are pulling you the other way, demanding the stability of visual workflow builders.
So, welcome to this deep dive. Our mission today is to cut through all that noise because right now the tech world is totally split.
Right.
One side is screaming that AI agents will make visual builders completely obsolete, and the other side is quietly achieving massive enterprise success with those exact same visual builders.
And to navigate this, we're relying on the expert analysis of Kareem Aeshadjo, the founder of BYK Insights,
Yeah, and Kareem is a 20-year telecom IT and ICT veteran.
which is so important right now because his work actually bridges the gap between, casual hobbyist experimentation and real enterprise-grade ROI.
Okay, let's unpack this dichotomy because when you look online, the narrative is intense. You search for visual workflow builders, specifically n8n, and you hit a wall of people saying, stop learning 8n. 8n is dead.
Yeah, they act like AI coding agents just wipe these platforms off the map.
Exactly. But then you look at the actual balance sheets.
What's fascinating here is the massive disconnect between that online chatter and the hard financial reality.
Right, because YouTubers are declaring 8n dead, but the company itself just raised a $180 million Series C funding round at a $2.5 billion valuation.
Yeah, and they have over 200,000 active users. But the real proof isn't the valuation, it's the execution.
Which brings us back to that major European telecom operator. Saving £2.2 million with just 33 workflows sounds almost impossible until you look at what those workflows are actually doing.
And we aren't talking about sending a Slack message when a new email arrives. We're talking about core telecom operations.
Like SIM provisioning and stuff.
Exactly. SIM provisioning, cross-referencing legacy billing systems, automating complex network ticket routing. A modern workflow builder acts like a universal translator.
So it basically takes an API request and translates it into a format that a legacy billing database from like 2004 can actually process.
Yes. They mapped out exactly where human engineers were wasting hours just copying data from one screen to another and replaced them with a secure automated bridge.
Okay, but if a major European operator is saving millions with just a handful of workflows, why are hobbyists online screaming that the tool is dead? Is it just a fundamental misunderstanding of value?
It boils down to a completely different mindset. Hobbyists optimize for cool.
Optimized for cool, yeah.
They want to build something flashy, deploy a raw AI script, post a screenshot on a forum, and get upvotes. Kareem noted that he's actually seen users with 50 different n8 workflows running simultaneously that generate exactly €0 in business value.
50 workflows doing absolutely nothing for the bottom line. It's just automation for the sake of automation.
Right. For a hobbyist, the workflow is the end goal. But for an enterprise, the workflow is just a vehicle for reliability and ROI.
They don't care what's trending. They care if it runs 24/7 without breaking.
Exactly. The hobbyists are abandoning visual builders because they think AI agents are the shiny new toy. But deploying raw, unsupervised AI code directly into a production environment is a recipe for absolute disaster.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Kareem's core architectural philosophy isn't about picking a winner between AI agents and workflow builders. It's about how you're supposed to use them together.
The false dichotomy is a trap. The organizations driving real revenue impact are using both tools, but they strictly separate their roles.
And he uses that great house analogy, right?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Think of an AI coding agent like Claude Code as your architect.
Oh, okay.
It drafts incredibly complex blueprints in a matter of hours instead of weeks. It designs the logic, figures out the data structures, and writes the custom code.
But you can't live inside a blueprint. You can't just unroll a piece of paper on an empty lot and expect it to keep the rain out.
You cannot live in a blueprint, and that is where n8n comes in. It's the house itself.
Right. The structure, the plumbing, the wiring.
Exactly. It's the environment built specifically to withstand the elements' alive business environment.
Because a raw Python script sitting on a server doesn't natively know how to handle an API rate limit.
No, it doesn't.
And for you listening, an API rate limit is basically when a software service says, you're asking me for data way too fast, I'm locking you out for 60 seconds.
And if your AI script doesn't know how to patiently wait and ask again, the whole process just crashes.
It crashes hard. And Terium actually proved this, didn't he?
He did. He built an automated content pipeline using this exact hybrid approach.
Using Claude to build the workflows.
Yeah, drafting those blueprints, writing the complex API calls, and then he deployed them into n8n to actually execute them.
And how many are running?
Out of the 20 workflows he developed, 18 are running flawlessly in production right now.
That's incredible. So Claude does the heavy lifting of custom logic, and n8n handles the logging, the error handling, and the schedules.
Exactly. It's completely separating the thinking from the doing. And a Tier 1 European carrier actually officially partnered with n8n recently.
To offer AI automation directly to their business customers,
Yes.
right?
Which proves this hybrid approach isn't just a neat trick for startups. It's hardened enterprise infrastructure.
But it's not foolproof. If you flip the roles, the whole system collapses. So let's look at the breaking points. Starting with the visual builder, where does n8n fall apart?
It breaks when you force it to handle complex, stateful reasoning across dozens of branching paths. Developers call this spaghetti workflows.
What does stateful reasoning actually mean for an IT team in practice?
It means the system has to remember a specific piece of context from step 1, hold onto it through 20 visual branches, and use it to make a decision at step 50.
And doing that visually gets messy.
Very. You end up with hundreds of nodes tangled together. If an error happens at 3 a.m., no human engineer can look at that digital bowl of spaghetti and debug it.
So one missed edge case, and you accidentally send a highly sensitive termination email instead of a welcome email.
Exactly. Visual builders fail when used for heavy code logic.
Okay, so that's the spaghetti trap. Keep the complex logic out of the visual builder. But what about Claude Code? Where does the AI agent break?
It breaks on operational reliability. Raw AI code lacks built-in safety nets, observability, and crucially, it lacks idempotency.
Idempotency. Let's pause there because that is a vital engineering concept. I always think of it like hitting refresh when you're trying to buy a concert ticket.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Right. If the system isn't idempotent and the server blinks, so you hit refresh, you just accidentally bought the same ticket twice.
Yes. Now apply that concert ticket logic to a telecom operator's billing cycle.
Oh, wow.
If an AI coding agent hits a network timeout and decides to retry a step without idempotency, it might double create a massive enterprise invoice.
Or provision a network slice twice, eating up massive bandwidth. It makes raw AI code incredibly dangerous without a safety net.
It's flying blind, which leads to the most dangerous scenario of all, the silent failure. Kareem shared a real-world story about this from his own pipeline.
What happened?
He had a video processing step entirely managed by an AI script. Worked perfectly in testing. But in production, an API field name changed upstream.
Like a vendor changed first underscore name to just first name without telling anyone.
Exactly. A tiny change, but catastrophic for raw code.
Yeah.
The AI script didn't know how to handle the new field name, so it just swallowed the error and reported success.
Wait, so the output data was completely corrupted, but there were no alarms?
Nothing. No error messages.
Oh, wow.
It failed silently for 3 entire days before he manually caught it.
3 days of toxic data quietly pumping into a system. That is terrifying. A loud failure is annoying because it wakes up an engineer, but a silent failure can corrupt an entire database before anyone notices.
And his fix for this was immediate. He moved the orchestration out of the raw script and into n8n.
To get that instant observability.
Yes, he could visually see every single input and output. You must separate your development layer from your production layer. Claude is development. n8n is production.
So what does this all mean? We've talked about the tech stack, the blueprints, the silent failures, but it feels like we're circling a much larger strategic truth. If you're opening a piece of software before mapping out exactly where your business is bleeding money, you've already lost the game.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is Kareem's most vital insight. The failure of enterprise automation is almost never a technological problem.
It's a strategic problem.
Exactly. People open n8n and ask, what should I automate? Or they open Claude Code and say, build me something cool. That approach is completely backwards.
A solution in search of a problem. So to combat that, Kareem developed the Golden Framework, right?
Yes, a strict 4-step methodology for actual ROI. Step 1.
Hmm.
Identify a process costing real time or money and put a specific number on it.
Not just a vague, we need to process tickets faster, but we spend 12 hours a week manually moving data, costing us this exact amount.
Right, because if you don't have a hard number, you don't have a baseline. Step 2 is map that process manually. Document every single step, every human decision, every weird Friday afternoon exception.
Because if you can't explain the mess to a human engineer, you absolutely cannot explain it to an AI.
Exactly. So step 3 is match the right tool to the map.
So n8n for schedules and logs, Claude for custom reasoning, or both.
Yes. And finally, step 4. Measure the result strictly in business terms. Did the cost actually go down?
And Kareem has a fantastic concrete example of this from his own business. Creating high-quality video content manually was costing him about €100 per video when he factored in his time.
Which is a significant operational cost if you're trying to scale.
But by applying his golden framework, he fully automated the pipeline and dropped the cost to just €3.50.
In compute and API costs, that is a 96% reduction.
A 96% reduction. And the system runs entirely in the background. That is what actual enterprise ROI looks like.
The companies achieving these results aren't arguing in YouTube comments. They are laser-focused on identifying expensive manual bottlenecks and engineering them out of existence.
It's such a refreshing perspective. It cuts right through the hype and brings the conversation firmly back to the balance sheet.
And it raises an important question for anyone listening today. Are you treating automation like a weekend hobby, or are you architecting it like core infrastructure?
The tools are ready. The methodology has been proven by major telecom operators.
The only variable left is your internal strategy.
Which brings us to the end of our deep dive. We've covered a massive amount of ground today, from the false dichotomy to blueprints versus buildings, silent failures, and the four-step framework.
And all of this analysis was built on the insights of Kareem Daju. If you're an IT decision maker or CTO, I highly recommend visiting byecainsights.com.
Yeah, you can explore more of his enterprise automation strategies there, and definitely follow BYECA Insights.
Just remember his core mantra: business problem first, tool choice second, revenue impact always.
I want to leave you with one final new thought to mull over. Think back to that crossroads in the hurricane we talked about at the beginning. If a highly complex €100 manual process can be reduced to a €3.50 automated API call almost overnight, what happens to the massive global offshore operation centers that telecom giants rely on?
That's a huge shift.
Right. If infrastructure becomes this incredibly cheap to run, does the physical geography of IT completely dissolve? Will the ultimate competitive advantage belong to the companies with the best code, or the leaders who realize they no longer need 1,000 people in a room to process their data? Take that thought with you. We'll see you on the next deep dive.